Hey beautiful people, this video we talk about how to define the success criteria for a project. In the last video we uncovered the number one factor for project success, which is the shared definition of success. But here's where most teams get stuck. They know that they should define it, but they don't know how to go about building that definition and maintaining and recalibrating that definition for the duration of the project. Today I'm going to give you a step-by-step method so that you can walk into any project and you can manage the success criteria for the duration successfully. Hi, I'm Jennifer Kenny and I am the award-winning author of 100% Capacity and also the author of the best-selling Innovation Mindset book. I help leaders turn ambitious goals into measurable impact. Let's talk about why success criteria need to be really explicit. Value goals that are somewhat nebulous, like improve efficiency, create more confusion than they do focus or value. If we understand exactly what it is that we're looking to impact, so say for example, we are looking to remain competitive in a particular market. We are looking to grow market share in a particular market. We are looking to be able to improve our customer experience against measurable metrics over a 2-year period that will allow us to be able to move from being a market laggard in a particular market to a leader in customer satisfaction in a particular market. Those are the sort of metrics that we need to be going after if we're going to be delivering highly successful projects. The Project Management Institute data shows that 37% of failed projects cite a lack of clear goals as the main reason. Now, the deal with goals is they absolutely have to be shared goals. If you're just building goals for your project team as to what it is you are going to deliver, and those goals have not been co-invented with your customer, then you are setting yourself up for failure. So let me talk a little bit about what it means to co-invent goals with your customer. Lots of times what happens, because we live in an input process output world where we lob stuff over the wall to each other between various different departments, we miss the big opportunity for project success, which is the co-invention with your customer as to what success actually means for you and for them. We tend to think of ourselves as service providers inside organizations as we deliver projects to other groups within the company. And that's true, we are service organizations if we're delivering projects to other groups inside the company. But that does not mean that we are not absolutely a critical part of co-inventing the definition of success and co-inventing what that value really should look like, can be measured, and what value we know we can impact with the technology we're offering. As we define our success criteria, they become our true north for project success. Now, the thing about true north, if you've ever held a compass in your hand and you are walking in what you believe is a straight line, you will see the compass move and deviate, and you will often discover that there is no straight line that allows you to be able to go from A to B. Sometimes you have to go north, northwest, and then you have to go north, northeast for you to be able to end up at your north point that you're aiming for. Projects are like that as well. If you recognize that you are going to have deviations from your true north as you move through the project and as your customer gains a deeper understanding of the value that you can potentially bring and of the market that they're operating in and of the context that they're working in, which is also changing for them and for you, you will recognize that your project is always going to be doing this. Now, the question is, how do you manage these deviations that are going to happen for the duration of your project? I have never been on a project that could actually have one definition of success at the beginning of the project, simply deliver on that one definition of success and have the customer be absolutely delighted and have their customer be thrilled in terms of the enormous value that we brought. Any project I have ever worked on in my career, and it's been a long one, has those deviations happen as a natural part of the project. So we have a choice. We either design for those deviations or we simply try and nail things down and hope they don't happen. I strongly recommend that we design for those deviations. Let me talk about a 5-step framework for defining success criteria. Obviously, we want to be able to engage the stakeholders early and often, but sometimes we go into those conversations looking for them to tell us what it is that they're looking for, rather than having them explain to us what outcome would this work produce that would produce a win for them. We tend to focus on the tech and we don't necessarily focus on the impact or the outcomes or the value. If we have the conversations around impact, outcomes and value, we're having a different kind of conversation, because what we're doing is we're not allowing our customer to define our work for us. What we're doing is we're bringing our mastery to the table. We're listening to their mastery in terms of their work and what they're masterful at, and we're bringing those two things together to co-invent something that is going to be more powerful than them simply telling us what to do. The more concrete we can make our success criteria, the better. If we're going to have deliverables, but we need to look at what the impact of those deliverables is going to be in increments or in phases. As we start looking at our success criteria early on in the project, we need to get an understanding of the success of the process, of the different handoffs that need to be made for the duration of the project. And we need to move away from this idea that says that our deliverable is a bunch of code, or our deliverable is a screen design, or our deliverable is good UX design. Those are only small elements of the deliverable. What we're looking to do is we're looking to build a process with our customer that allows them to be able to adopt new practices in their own organization that is going to allow them to produce the impact that together we are looking to produce. The time frames are always a tricky one, because we're always trying to get stuff done under the gun to a certain extent, and I talk more about tech debt in a number of other videos. But one of the things that we tend to do is we tend to focus exclusively on the timeline, and we don't necessarily give ourselves a lot of room to be able to negotiate the scope as our understanding of the tech shifts and changes over time. As I mentioned in an earlier video, if we look at the process of that moving target of the definition of success, because it's going to move and become more nuanced and more sophisticated as both our customers and our teams engage in the project. If we allow for that and we get really good at negotiating that, what we can end up doing is we can find much more effective ways to be able to deliver the value with maybe less actual development work on behalf of ourselves and our teams. The mutual agreement part of the commitment that we're making to deliver on a successful project means that we are also weaving into that the process that we're building in terms of helping our customer build new practices in their organization using the technology that we're delivering for them, and also how we will be treated and engaged with as we work through the project. So one of the things that I learned through trial and lots of error early on in my career was that it's a two-way street. That value exchange is not simply our internal customers lobbing stuff over the wall to us and us scrambling to do the very best we can. It's also us defining upfront what are our criteria for how we will be successful in our project, what understanding we need from them, what conversations we need to have with them, what co-invention we need to engage with them in, what responses we're looking for from them at various different times. Now again, those will move and change over time, because by nature a project is incredibly dynamic, not just in terms of the code development, but in every aspect of the project. So as we look to build that mutual agreement, that shared understanding of what it is that we're doing together, we need to build a high level of trust. One of the most important and most effective ways to be able to do that over the duration of a project is to really be able to embed this understanding of conditions of satisfaction and definition of success into every conversation that we have and into the understanding of every single person working on the project. The standard tools that we try to use to help us with this are the good old RACIC charts. Now, those are valuable and useful, but I was talking to a project lead a couple of days ago, and he said to me, look, RACIC charts are great and they're a good place for us to start, But this project is so dynamic and it's moving so fast and the tech is evolving so quickly that the basic charts themselves are not enough for us to be able to really stay agile in these projects. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that anything that is a static document that is written on paper that requires people to constantly look it up is not something that we want to be able to use to allow us to be agile. The agility exists in us. The agility exists in the conversations that we have. The agility exists in the agreements that we make. The agility exists in the trust that we build. A document is not going to do that for us. If we outsource our trust building, our commitment building, our co-invention conversations, our agreements and our definitions of success and our success criteria to a document at the beginning of a project, we are setting ourselves up for failure. Those practices need to live and breathe within your project team at every step of the way towards a successful project outcome. As we start really beginning to embed this idea of definition of success or conditions of satisfaction at the more local level, then our conversations need to be about that, and how we track our success needs to be about that as well. As we start building out our project, one of the metrics that I have begun using with the teams that I'm finding to be very successful is the percentage of tasks or the percentage of commitments that are being made. Now, not all tasks are commitments, so that's a whole other conversation, but the percentage of commitments that are being made using the structure of definition of conditions of satisfaction with a clear definition and understanding of who is the customer. What we're doing with that is we're then embedding that understanding into the practices of everyone working on the project and also the practices of all of our customers, people working on the project. We're moving it now from a level of hope to a level of actual day-to-day practice. Those are the sort of ground floor practices that bubble up the sort of agility that we are desperately in need of as we run our projects today. If you found this video useful, helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know in the comments, and also have a look at the other video that I've done here, which is how to measure the success of a project. I wish you the very best of luck with your project. Let me know how it's going for you. Take care.